He said, I say it's time to arise. It's time to shine into the darkness, for the darkness is deep and it's gross and it's thick. Arise, prophets, rise in the name of Jesus. Apostles, arise in the name of Jesus. Teachers, arise in the name of Jesus. Evangelists, arise in the name of Jesus. I am calling my people to do a work. All people have a purpose and a call. You are my people. I have saved you for this time. I have saved you for this place. It is time to move forward. It is time to do the work of the Lord. My people, you have been asleep long enough. The enemy has kept you in fear. The enemy has held you in defeat. But I have risen so that you can go forward in the name above all names. The name above all names. It is time now. It's time. Now is the time. Rise up. Rise up. I'm with you. I walk with you. I talk with you. Draw near to me. As you draw near to me, I draw near to you. You are not with me because you choose not to be. I am here. Come. Let me speak to you secrets and mysteries and things that the world has longed to hear for all these years. Because you are in this place. You are in this time. And now it's time. It's time, children. It's time to go forth. It's time to do it in my name. And it's time to be bold. It's time to be bold. The enemy has been in charge long enough, and he has lied in your life long enough. Now it's time to grab hold of who you truly trust in. Who do you believe in? Me. Trust in me. The Lord would say, trust in me. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. I love you with a love beyond anything you can ever imagine. I love you, my children. I have called you. Go forth in my love. Let love be your ministry above all things. Oh, and I will give you what to say. And when to say it, the Holy Spirit will lead, guide, and direct in every step you take. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
The fruition of that word will be today. She said it's time that we stood up and began to do the work. And she called out, or God called out prophets and apostles and teachers and speakers and prayers, and well, we're going to do that today. So wherever you're at, whatever pew you're at, the Lord would ask, He just told me to say this, or I feel like He did. You are to pray for the row immediately in front of you. Right where you're at right now. They're getting ready to sing another song. During that song, you see, we don't want to just be universal with this thing. I got to go out today, right now. Let me put it down to where whoever's in front of you, whatever that row is in front of you, you begin to pray for them. Intercede on their behalf. That might be the next apostle. That might be the next prophet. That might be the next pastor. That might be the next anointed praise team leader. I don't know. But pray for them as if they are. In your front row, you pray for the praise team. You begin to pray. And don't worry, because somebody behind you is praying for you. Because the praise team, as they're beginning to minister, will be ministering and praying for the sound booth. So everybody is in the cycle, and we're praying each one for another one. And you don't have to worry about what's going on across the room or across the seats. You're concerned about the people right in front of you. Pray for them while they sing.
I believe it is in Psalm 85. It starts at verse 10. I'm not sure about that, but it is mercy and truth meet. Righteousness and peace kiss. It says, truth springs forth from the earth, and righteousness looks down from heaven. The Lord gives the word, and the land gets the increase. So, as my sister was given that word, that because it's truth. And we need to look to see what the Lord is saying to us. Not what I say, but what the Lord is saying to us. So I ask you to grab hold of this, because you are truth when you speak it. There are wells of truth in this room. And it says, truth springs forth from the earth. So when you have that word in you and you speak that word, you are speaking truth. And you become a well of living water. So I proclaim to you, there are wells of faith, there are wells of hope, there are wells of joy, there are wells of authority in this room today. So you grab hold of that word. That is the rock of the word.
Have trust and confidence in the calling God has for you. You don't pick. He chose you. He picked you.
Amen.
He chose the calling. Don't question it. Have trust and confidence in it. Just as an arrow is in the hand of an archer, as Kathy was speaking, a minute ago, get that word, I could see only the profile of a bow and two hands. Strong hands. They were so strong. You can look at hands and tell they're strong. Pulled an arrow and held it for a long time, which is hard to do and stay steady. But those hands never moved. And slowly positioned. Still steady. Release. There's arrows in here. You get in the hand of the archer. Stay in his hands. Trust and have confidence in the direction and the calling that he has. And when it's time to go forth, go. Thank you, Jesus.
How many of us have run into his arms? Safety, security, knowing that Father has got us. No matter what the enemy says, no matter what is spoken, we're in his arms. We choose to run into his arms for safety. Sometimes it's out here. But it says if the fear is gone when Father has us in his arms. Simply being loved by God. Fear's God. Knowing that he's got us. There's a time in our life that we have to allow all things in our life to be God. And seek after the one that is truly able to be worshipped, worthy to be worshipped. If we can get to a place in our life where we can worship the Lord in spirit and in truth, that means with all our mind that everything that we pray for the Father to be worshipped and lifted up. Run into his arms. But the hour has come, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. There's a little more than just worshiping. You have to worship him in the spirit and in the truth, knowing that he is able to do all things. And the true worshipers, we got to worship him just not for who we are, but we got to know that God is worthy to be praised and to be worshipped this morning. As we enter into his house, we are to count it a joy to worship him and to lift him up. in spirit and in truth. For the Father shall seek such worship. He seeks after us to come to his house, that we can worship him and lift him up. Do we do that? Sure. Do we come into his house and forget about all we dealt with all week long? I come to his house today to worship him. I come to his house to lift him up, to give him praises. God is spirit, and them that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Amen. With all that we have, I've had a lot of people talk last week and said that they're seeking more of God. Yeah. They want more. When we get to a place in our life that we're willing to sell out everything that we have to accept what God has for us, then we're seeking after him in the spirit and in the truth. I don't want what I have no more, but I want what you got. That's having the truth to know that what we have, if we want to get rid of it. I'm sorry for that. But truly seeking after God for who he is in our life. Ain't it good that we can seek after him in his house, in spirit and in truth? Amen. Just a good place to be. I love when God calls his people out. It's time. God's trying to get us ready. But he calls us out. It's time to come to worship him and forget about all those things that we dealt with, but seeking after a God that we know is going to lead us down a path. Ain't it good to be in his house today? Brother Ralph, get ready to bring us the word. That word is what changes us. That brings in the spirit that we can accept Christ for who he is. If you have stuff today you need to get rid of, good place to lay it. Lay it down and get rid of it. Go back out those doors, didn't you? Let's seek after Christ of it. The same Christ that come in a manger and swaddling clothes and that we look at it on the place, it's the same Christ that's going to come back to receive us. The same one. It's exciting. Come on, brother. I mean, I ain't playing. But I'm just excited. I'm excited knowing who Christ is in my life. And I'm no longer the person I used to be. I used to be quiet and I'm very candid too. I had to be loud. But ain't it good that God will change us? It changes the people that we are. We're no longer the same. When we accept him in our Christ, in our heart, we accept Christ, we're different. And that's what but we have a heart coming into his house to simply don't think about what we have, what we done all week. I come into his house to simply just worship in spirit and in truth. Come on, brother. You just please put the time.
The Lord has kind of switched this all around. I'm going to be sorry. Actually, I'm not. What I thought I was going to do last, we're going to do first at the end. Because he's in control. He knows it all. Amen? Amen. I began to think, knowing what the title was and what the gist of the message was going to be today, as Sister Kathy began to stand up. And when she began to stand up, how many of you know I didn't have to ask if the anointing of God was on her? I mean, it's like you could just see, almost to the point that you could feel that there was something coming from God instantly. And you know what she did? She stood up And you know what she gave? Now there's more in her. And can I tell you, there's more in her than she even knows. There's areas of ministry that are going to come forth from her that she hasn't even begun to walk in yet. And then she got finished. And God just gave her. I need to ask you a question. How many people participated in the prayer that Brother Steve asked us to participate in? Yeah. How many, while you were praying, knew that the person behind you was praying?
That's it. Yeah.
How many knew? Praise team, did you know that there was people praying for you? Can I tell you something? That I knew that the people that were praying for me weren't halfway praying for me. I knew, Sister Rita, just like you were when God gave you a word just a few minutes ago about mercy and truth. That they must be together. Righteousness and peace, they must kiss, they must be together. Truth must spring out of the ground. Righteousness must look down. It must be. When I felt and I knew that there was people that were praying for me, I began to just imagine, you know what, those people are bringing all that they've got before my Heavenly Father on my behalf this morning. And that just blew me away when I could just think that there's people that love me enough to give what they have on my behalf. It's amazing. Can you show that picture of the women's court, please? No, I'm seeing a better picture. It's kind of in color and in HD, and y'all get the black and white. Yours is bigger. Now, this is the court of the women in Harris County. If you're familiar with that, this might make some sense. If not, we'll hopefully get there and we still make some sense. In this colonnade that went all the way around, behind the columns, the colonnade went all the way around the court of the women. Went all the way around. And all the way through this colonnade, there were boxes. Yeah. All through this. There was actually at this colonnade, as you go all the way around the court of the women. Now that doesn't mean that the court of the women is exclusively for women. It just means the court of the women in Harris Temple meant that this was as far as the women could go, other than for dedication of children and for sacrifices. This is where they went. They didn't see the steps right there on this side over here with the steps. The women didn't go up the steps unless it was necessary or instructed by the priest to do so. But it wasn't just the women. But anyway, here they are in this court. And around this colonnade, all the way around this temple, from one end to the other, there were boxes. Can you show a picture of those boxes? Now these are literally what they are, is offering boxes. Boxes for the offerings of the people that came into the temple. They are different. They each one, you see the inscriptions on the front there, they each one were numbered, and they each one had the reason or the thing that you would give. How many of you know that if you were, not begin to think as Kathy began to say, evangelist, right? Well, there's a box for that. God's got a place that you can bring your offering as an evangelist or as a pastor or as a teacher or whatever it is that He's called you into, as a giver, as one that will teach and bring forth just the truth. And you know, how many of you know it's a gift to be able to speak the truth no matter what's going on around you? To speak the truth to someone that knows they're living in a lie, but they want you to agree with them just so they feel better about themselves. That's a gift, and that's a box. She's got one for that. But there were 11 of these. There were 11 of these around the colonnade. There were 2 more, actually 3 more. Well, there were 13 boxes total. 11 around the colonnade, 2 at the gate called Beautiful. Or the gate of Susan in the Heritage Gate. I don't know where Susan came from, but that's the name of the gate. And there was 1 more that was a special place, in a special place hidden. For people that either, for whatever purpose, Pastor, didn't want people to see or to know what they were bringing or what they had to give. Some would come and bring a lot because they didn't want people to think about they or say or to look at them when they brought their gifts, so they would take it into this place behind this door and give their offering. Some that just had maybe $1 or a whole month, just whatever they had to give, they would just give it into that place where they didn't want others to see, to talk about, or to even think about their offering. But I just want to let you know, how many of you look at what people put in the offering? I'm glad nobody raised their hand. Yeah. But I just got to tell you something. He loves. he loves. If you will, go to Mark chapter 12. Y'all pray for me. Just a little bit this morning. We'll try not to be too long. Or we'll try to be as long as we need to be. How's that sound? Mark chapter 12, verse 41. Now, I told you the last statement I made there was that he loves. I'm going to prove that. Is that all right? And Jesus sat over against the treasury. Remember those boxes we just showed you? He was sitting close to one of them. He was sitting close to one of those places. And as he sat over against the treasury, he beheld how the people, he watched as the people came. He says he beheld, he was looking, he was taking notice. He was watching how the people cast money into the treasury. And many that were rich cast in much. Nothing wrong with that. He's glad for that. There was nothing wrong with that. And there came a certain poor widow. A certain poor widow. It doesn't say she was a widow indeed, or whatever, but she was a widow. And she threw in 2 mites, which make a farthing. By the way, a mite it literally, in the Greek, means a small, thin coin. That's what it means. So she threw in, with these 2 mites, probably close to $1, or half a dollar. Different theologians say different things, different money that say different things. Some even people would say it's about half of a cent in that time, which would be about $1 for us now. So she threw in what she had. She threw in those 2 mites, which make a farthing. And he called unto his disciples. How many of you know he watched them all? He even took notice to the ones that threw in much. He saw that there were some that threw in, that some people that put in a lot of money into that. By the way, we're going to get into that word cast in just a minute about how they cast in, because it makes a difference and it's important. And I believe it's an important lesson that we all need to take a hold of and we all need to get. And the Lord just threw this at me this morning, this cast thing. So we're going to talk about it for just a little bit when we get there. Verily, he said, when he called his disciples unto him, he began to speak, and he said, Verily, I say unto you, that this poor widow hath cast more in than all they which have cast into the treasury. For all they did cast in of their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all she had, even all her living. Can I tell you, it's really not important how much you put in an offering. Now, and an offering to me is just anything. It's not only just money you put in the plate that's passed around. It's time that you put in that you really don't have extra to spare to help someone that's in need. An offering can be whatever it can or would or can be used. In this case, she was given money. It was her offering for the thing. Now, each one of those boxes were one of them, for example, was for the taxes of the temple. One was for the wood, contributions for the wood that they had to burn for the sacrifices. One would be a contribution for the incense that had to be burned all the time in the temple. It was costly, so they would put these things. Some were sin offerings. If you didn't have a total of, or you didn't buy or didn't have it, you could put the offering of an equal amount of that. So the change that you had left over went into another box. And there were so many different ways and so many different things that you. But here's the point: everything that was to be brought into the house of God was to be used for something. Nothing was to be idle. Nothing was to be just sitting down or taken back home. It was to be used at the temple for that which it was to be used for. They all had it. So she came into this place and she brought not a whole lot in man's sight or even in my sight. To me, that wasn't much. That wasn't much. I mean, I don't know if I got $1 or not, but I could get one. But she threw it off. And it's not really. How many of you know that little is much? God. So as he began to behold this woman, and she threw in what she had, and she did all that she knew to do. He said, out of her want, she cast it in. She cast it in. Now, when it says at the end of that verse 44, when it says, even all of her living, I just want to take this. Is it okay if I take this a minute and teach you that? All of her living. Yeah. That means that I began to look that up, and that means in the Greek, that means her very existence. The present state of her existence. So she realized that she not only was putting in 2 mites, but she was putting in everything that she had to live on for whatever or however long it was. Now, I don't know if she had spent everything else that she had, and this is all she had left. I don't know if this is something she had just worked for and obtained. I don't know. But according to Jesus Christ, she cast in her very, not just the money that she had, but her very, in other words, she come to give all she had. No matter whether it was money, no matter whether it was her person, no matter whether it was her time, her very existence, she came and she dropped in when she dropped those 2 miles, because the one that saw her and beheld her looked at her heart, not her hand. And he saw what was in her heart, and he saw that everything that she brought before him that day was profitable and needful. And he made his disciples, he brought his disciples over, so that how many of you know sometimes we get caught up in stuff? Oh, 3 of us, praise God. The rest of you, I'll pray for you. So we get caught up in stuff, and he, at the very onset of his ministry here, did not want to allow them to get caught up in stuff. He took them over and taught them a very important lesson. We need to, as we are called and as we do and as we give in this thing, we ought to give everything. Don't leave me. You know what? If I halfway preach a message to you, I've cheated you, I've cheated me, and more importantly, I've hurt your perception of the one that called and sent the message in the first place. No wonder when Kathy stood up this morning, the anointing was so strong, because he's the one that sent the message. And when Rita stood up, the words were spoken with power and with demonstration. And the Holy God just began to come down and minister to everyone that heard it. It was all of their living, all of existence that they had, that they give. And when it's given in that way, how many know it prospers everyone that watches it, and everyone that hears it, and everyone that will receive it? God is trying to bring something good. Give all your living today, because that's what she did. And Jesus made an example of her and to his disciples that this is the way giving is. Giving is cheerful. Now, can I tell you something about casting it in? He made the statement that she cast in more than they are. That word cast, Pastor, means this. I got time. I do have it all. I know I'm looking, and this is kind of seeing where to throw it, and this might be just totally contradictory to what he's trying to say. The pastor wants it to read too bad, so he didn't get it. But here's what it means when you cast, with this word, cast. But she, of her want, did cast in all that she had, even all of her living. Here's what it means. I don't want to hit nobody. I don't want to get Sherry, especially. She said, don't hit me. Oh, the people wants it. And I'm saying all this to make a point. Sarah wants it bad. Well, you know what? He's got something for you. He's got something for you. Everybody share what you want. I'm kidding. But here's literally what it means. Here's just literally what it means. Now, a lot of times, if you remember those boxes, they were wide at the top. If y'all ever really seen these things sometimes in the department stores, well, they would do that. And kids would look, even in the history, now this is according to Jewish history, they would do that just to listen to the money rattle and get all the way down. It was just something that they like to do. No, you don't. It literally means that. Don't literally mean for somebody to break their arm trying to get it. But it means to let go or to throw down, not carrying where it is done. That's the literal Greek term that was brought forth for that, just to let go. And not only just to let go, but not to see where it ends up. How many of us want to give to the church and tell the pastor how to use the money which we gave? How many of us want to give in the spirit of things? I'm going to preach a message, but I'm going to tell you what it means. And if you don't take it that way, you miss it. How many of us want to sing a song and say, well, if the word don't be, if this is not right, if this is not wrong, if it's out of tune? How many of you know it's heaven's tune that matter? And if something's not exactly right, and I understand and I believe that you want to sound good, and I think you ought to, because to give your all, you got to do your best. Just like a minister has to do it all, but sometimes, guys, when the Spirit of God overtakes, you just got to let it go. And don't care where the chips fall, because He's got them in His hand, and He will control and put them where they are. We need to learn how to give all that we got and to understand that He's in control. And you know what? My kids used to do this all the time. All the time. And I never could understand the concept of it. They always would give something to one of the brothers or sisters. And 3 minutes later, when they got back to brother and sister, they wanted it back. By all the head shaking, you've done that too. Now, are you been the one that's given or the one that's trying to take back? Because after you give something away, Lee, it ain't yours no more to take back. So after we give what God has inspired or instructed us, we have stood up and been the people that God has called us to be, and we have seen the mercy and the truth and the righteousness and the peace, and they've all come together, and the weapons of the warfare of the others are now with us. And as we have seen all that, and after we release it and give it away, how many of us have tried to go back 3 years ago and get the anointing that we lost back then, that we should have had right now? Lord, I don't mean to get heavy, but I just tell you, I believe it's important today that we learn that when we give all that we have and we give all of our living, it's not ours anymore. It belongs to another source or another place. And if we give it all, it's up to Him to use it as He sees fit. I get so afraid that people are going to take advantage of me. Because I am so... Listen, I've taken refrigerators out of my house and given them away. Maria gets mad, but I just want to borrow a new one. You just give. It's just, and I'm not saying that to toot a horn or to blow a trumpet. By the way, when sometimes, according to Josephus, when they would come and take those the money from those things and take them back to the places where they put it, they would blow a trumpet. They would blow a trumpet to let people know, you know what, it's time to take up the offering. It's not only time to take it up, it's time to put it up. And at the point when you drop it, no longer is it in your control. It was in your control. That was 2 months were in the control of that widow until she turned loose. And after she turned loose, and if her heart was right, and her mind was right, then after she turned them loose, it didn't matter what they were used for. It didn't matter if they were used to buy wood. It didn't matter if they were used for the incense. It didn't matter if they were used for taxes. What mattered to her was that all she had, she gave. And that's the most important thing. That, you know, we're in the giving season, aren't we? Some of you are. I'm in the receiving season. I'm learning that quickly. I struggled with it for a while, but Pastor told me. It's so important that we learn how to give, to just be able to let go, and like she did. Just please don't take my word. Go home and get your strongest concordance out and look that word cast up. It means to let it go without caring where it ends up. Just be that way. Learn to be that way. Just being able to give that way. This is not a principle. I've got time. So we can go to Candy Bank. Just real quick. Just going through it real quick. Everybody knows this story. Just going to go just over to the point. You all know that Elijah went to Zarephath. God, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, "Get thee up and arise." Kathy began to tell all of us. And I believe everybody, she probably called everybody in the church. God has given everyone in this church that has the Spirit of God at some point, some way, some prophecy to give unto someone, some word that you need to say, some prayer that you need to pray, somewhere we need to go, something we need to do. God has called us all to arise. He told him to rise and go to Zarephath. He said, because listen, you're going to go, but I've already commanded a widow woman that is there to sustain me and to take care of you while you're there. And as that widow was there, and he began to travel and go to Zarephath. I love what it says in the next verse. Go. So he arose. Or it says, just like God said go, he just got up and went. And he went to the place and he came to the gate of that city. And there was that widow. I don't know how he knew it was her, but it was her. And as he began to get to that city, this widow was there gathering up some sticks. It was, how many of you know that rained in a while? This is right in the middle of the drought that it hadn't rained in a while. So it hadn't rained in a while. So her mind was this: I'm going to go gather up a couple of sticks and build a fire. All I've got is a little handful of cornmeal, a little handful of meal in a barrel at the house, and all I've got is a little bit of oil left in the crude. I'm just going to go fix this and make this last meal for me and my son, and we're just going to wait for that to come because there's no other option. There's no other means of which I can support myself and my son. It's over, it's done, and it's absolutely nothing else I can do. She had come to that place of despair and desperation that she had given up and was going to die. Anybody else ever been there about a circumstance to figure out, you know what, this is out of my control. I can't do any more. I've not got one more thing that I can add to whatever the circumstance is to help it. I'm finished with it. I can't do anything else. She was there, but this was at the point of death. You know what? It's okay sometimes, even for, I can imagine a person being in this place, you know, it's okay, but now she was doing this for her son too. She was fixing the last meal and expecting her son to pass away as well. That's not easy. That's not easy. How many, well, I ain't going to ask that question. Because I know ain't none of you going to take the last little bit of milk you got and give it to me so I can feed my 18 youngest. That's grandkids and kids. Come on. Man, that was good. You see how bad that turned just in a second? It turned bad fast. But the prophet said, "Give me a drink of water. Fetch me a drink of water." She went to get the water. And while she was on her way to get the water, he yelled at her again. He said, "Not only water, but bring me a little cake. Bring me a little cake." She gave him the story I just told you. She said, "As the Lord thy God liveth, as God is alive, I ain't got it. I ain't got it." He said, "Well, how many of you know sometimes when things are in despair and we're totally desperate that God will send and has sent and will continue to send someone with a word to bring comfort and peace and joy into a circumstance that we cannot control?" Well, he sent a word by the man of God that day. He said, "Listen, I believe that the Lord has sent me here, and He sent me here to you. And if you will just bring me a cake first." Can I tell you something? His must be first. God's must be first. He don't take second. It don't work that way. His has to come. Paying tithes, I know. His is first. It's first. It's first. Not my word, not my will, not my thoughts. His. His is first. She told him the story. He said, "You bring me one first. And if you do," got a couple of words I'm going to give you. And God sent a word to her about that barrel of meal, about that cruse of oil. And He said, "If you bring me one first," He said this, that the barrel of meal will not waste. That means it will not stop coming. It will continue to provide for you and your son and for me as long as it is necessary. The oil in that cruse will not fail. That means it will not dry up. It will continue to come. It will always have enough. There's always enough when it comes to God. And when it comes to His purpose and His will, it will always be enough. And He said that it will do this and continue to be this way until the Lord sends the rain. That's the kind of God we serve. How many of you know what the lady did? How many know what she did? She went into her house and she made him a cake first. How many of you know what God did? He kept the barrel of meal with meal enough for them. He kept the cruse of oil full enough so that they could have enough to eat. And it was that way for many days. They ate and they were supplied because she gave all she had. Literally everything she had in the house to eat, she gave it away. Now, I believe in the New Testament. I believe, and I'm not going to be much longer. I'm just about done. I just believe that it's important at this time of year when we want to give. And Pastor asked me the other night. He said, "Would you believe preacher?" And they just all she had. It just as I heard it, just as plain as I could hear you speaking to me. All she had. So I believe this is important that we know, and I believe that God is trying to let us know. How many of you know it's not just women? It's all of us. It's not just women. I've used examples of two women that gave literally everything that they had. And they were not only for our examples and our learning, but for our exhortation and for us to be blessed by. And I believe as it is in the book of Romans chapter 1 and verse 14, Paul said this. He said, "I am a debtor. I am indebted to the Greeks. I'm indebted to the barbarians. I'm indebted to the wise. I'm indebted to the unwise." It doesn't matter if you receive what I got to say today or not. It doesn't matter if you receive any ministry that Sister Kathy began to speak from the anointing of the Father or Sister Rita began to speak. Good stuff right there. Push it. I had to move my way because if I was sitting, I'd spit all over the place. All they had that gave, and it was the anointing of God that brought it. He said this. He said, "I am indebted to these people. I am indebted to them. I am indebted." Do you know what it means to be a debtor? You think he owed the unwise people anything? He spoke the words of truth. What did he owe them? You think he even owed the barbarians anything? All he done was spoke the truth. What did he owe them? To continue to speak the truth. No matter the opposition, that's where he was indebted to continue with the truth. The woman could stop with one bite, but she didn't. It wasn't all she had. It wasn't everything that she needed to give. It wasn't the instruction that she had from maybe the Spirit to say, you know what, one ain't enough. You got to put two, because there's somebody. Can I tell you today, I told Pastor we might should have took the offering up afterwards today, because there's somebody watching when you put your offering in. And Jesus was watching that day. One wasn't enough that day for her. She had to put two in. And Jesus Christ gave us an example how important it is. He said, I am a debtor to everyone that I've ever come in contact with to do a certain thing. When you go to the next verse. This is it. How many of you feel like they're indebted to anybody this morning? Lord, help us all. We need all to come to the altar of prayer. Paul said this. He said, I'm a debtor to those people I just named. And so, since, because I am indebted unto him. So, he said, as much as in me is, not just one mind, not just one message, not just one song, not just one prayer, not just one thought, not just one time, not just one, not just, he said, as much as in me. And that means 150 times to one person, as much as in me is. As much as in me is. He said, as much as in me is. I pray that sticks in today to our spirit. As much as in me is. The Apostle Paul said, I am indebted to the Greeks, the barbarians, the wise, and the unwise. So that as much as in me is, I am ready to preach the gospel. I am ready to preach the gospel. I am ready to sing a song. I am ready to give an account of the hope that lies within me. I am ready to be there when there's a need and nobody else is able to be there. I'm ready, praise the Lord. I begin to think about Brother Bill, and I don't mean to toot his horn either. But he's hurt. He's hurt. Got a broke foot. If it ain't hurting, he's tougher than I am. The other day at the Christmas party, you know, he was over there, 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock. That morning, cutting up onions. I couldn't go because I'd cried before I got my house. But he was out early in the morning working on a broke foot. He was there at 5 o'clock when we got to the center to start cooking. He was still there at the grill at 7 o'clock when it was time to eat. That's somebody that, as much as in them is, was willing to give that day. Now, he gave not only for Brother Sid, who was sick and hurting himself, but he gave for every person here that got to eat that day. And I thank you for it, brother. So, next time he breaks the foot, I need some grass cut. Come on. I only got 7 or 8 acres to cut. You can get that no time. So as much as in me is, he said, I am ready to preach the gospel to them that are at Rome also. So here's what he's saying. Can I just tell you what he said? He said, I'm indebted to the Greeks. I'm indebted to the barbarians. I'm indebted to the wise. I'm indebted to the unwise. I'm indebted unto the ones that are here at Rome right now. I'm indebted to everyone that I come in contact with to speak the truth, to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Go to the next verse. We all know it, don't we? For I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. For it is the power of God unto salvation to all that believe, to the Jew first, and also unto the Greek. For therein, I love this next verse because it's powerful. For therein is the righteousness of God revealed. Can I tell you, as that woman began to stand that day at that box, and as that woman in Elijah's time was on her way to start the stove up so that she could cook a little cake with the last bit of meal that she had, not knowing, really, I guess she believed and she perceived later that he was a man of God, but at this time she didn't really know everything about everything. Sherry, how many of us know we don't need to know everything about everything? All that we need to know is what the Spirit of God has let us know, and to walk in this way and in this manner. Here's what she did that day. She was going from faith, and she dropped one in, to faith, and she dropped the other in. How many of us know that? But how many of us know it don't stop? Thank you. How many of you know that this could go on to infinity? For therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith to faith to faith to faith to faith. If faith don't continue, it stops at some point. To faith to faith. Faith to stand up and speak a word that God has given you in front of a crowd of people that you don't know and you don't even really know how to do it or what to say. Faith to faith, to stand up and preach a message that you've never even had a chance to work on or study out or meditate upon for the customary 12 to 13 hours, or stand up and to faith to know that you're going to give a prophecy to someone that needs a word from God that's going to direct them in the path that they go. To faith, praise the Lord. Not only are you going to give it, but faith enough to receive it, to receive something that's given from God, and to walk therein, and to realize how many of us know when Kathy stood up, I done said she was anointed, how many of us are able to receive that? Because he said, well, therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith, even as it is written, the just shall live by faith. Do we have any faith here today? Do we have people that are willing to walk into the avenues and into the alleys and into the ways and into the byways and the hedges and in the way that God has called us, and not just throw down a mite and say, well, I gave my part. It's time for me to move on and let somebody else come in. No, it's time for us to learn that as much as in us is, not as much as in my pocket, but as much as is in me, I need to be willing to give and to bring forth and to show them that righteousness, to show them that truth, to show them that peace, and to continue in it every day. Man, I love you this morning. I love the Lord, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be part of this church. I am. Even though you are here, I'm glad to be part of this church. God, listen to me, has something special. Has something special. We're getting ready to stop the year. The year's getting ready to come to an end. I don't know if you've given too much or if you gave much this year. Can I just tell you right now, it's irrelevant what you've given. What is relevant is the intent of our heart. Because that's what he looks at. That's what he was beholding as he was watching the people that day at the customs, the seat of customs. As he was standing there near the treasury, watching people come and then beholding what they brought in. He wasn't looking at what they put in. He was looking at the intent of their heart. And the intent of their heart, they got that going on now. But I just want to let us know. They've left. I know what the intent of y'all's heart is. It's to give out candy. To give out candy or bags and fruit and whatever's in there. So we're glad. And I just want to thank God for you. I want to thank you all personally for everything you give. I want to thank Brady for working and telling people where to park. I want to thank Jason. I want to thank Megan. I want to thank Christine. I want to thank you all for what you do. You give it all, and I'm thankful for it. I want to thank the praise team for singing every day, every time that there's service, for getting us into a place where we can truly be ready. How many of you know when you worship, how many of us know you don't just jump up and say, woo, I'm in worship now? Sometimes you can, because the Spirit of the Lord just moves. But we're slow. I'm slow. I need a little bit of time. I need something to help get me to those places. They do that for us, and we thank you. They give all they have so that we can give something of what we have back. And as they begin to do that, I just want to thank Pastor Kurt, and Sister Kathy, and Sister Sherry for all you give. For all you give. You give more than you know. You give more than you know. And we're thankful for it. And I love you guys.